Estrada, and this is an instructional video on how to use an ice cream maker. I will be using the 1.5 liter ice cream maker by Sweet Alice for this demonstration. But before we get started, I just want to go through some general safety guidelines. First of all, make sure that the machine is always unplugged before fitting, removing, or cleaning any of the parts. It is also important to ensure that any children using the machine are heavily supervised. This is because you need to avoid any contact with moving parts. This includes your hands, hair, clothing, and utensils as well. Never leave the machine on and unattended, and never place it on hot surfaces. It is also important to discontinue use of the machine if the freezing solution is ever leaking out of the inner bowl. And lastly, all ice cream should be consumed within 1 week of making. This is just to avoid any food safety issues. Along with safety guidelines, it is also important to know how to clean your ice cream maker. Like I mentioned earlier, you always want to switch off, unplug, and dismantle the machine before cleaning. It's also important that you never put the power unit in water. That is this white section on top, and this includes the power cord. You never want to wash any of the parts in the dishwasher. They should always be washed by hand. And you never want to clean anything with any harsh or abrasive materials. This includes hard scrubbing powders and steel wool. In order to clean the power unit, make sure to just wipe down with a damp cloth and then dry immediately. To clean the inner bowl, make sure that it has reached room temperature and then gently wash and dry. Make sure to never fully immerse the inner bowl in water as well. In order to clean everything else, this includes the outer bowl, the lid, and the paddle. You can just wash and dry thoroughly like you would anything else, but by hand. Next, I want to go over some tips and tricks on how to make the best ice cream possible. So first of all, you want to freeze the inner bowl for 8 to 12 hours before using. You also want to make sure that the ice cream mix has cooled completely in the fridge before pouring into the bowl. Most importantly, you want the machine to be on and the paddle running before you pour any of the mixture in. This is done to avoid anything sticking to the sides and bottom of the bowl. Also, when you're pouring, make sure that you use this chute here to avoid any splattering, and never pour above 2 inches from the top. You also want to make sure that you never stop and start the machine once the freezing process has begun, and make sure that you stop the machine if the motor continuously is changing direction. It does that when the mixture gets too thick, so to avoid overheating the motor, make sure that you just stop it. Also, make sure that you never use metal utensils to remove the mix to avoid scratching the inner bowl. The next thing I want to go over is how to assemble the ice cream maker. So here I have it laid out in all of its different parts. We're going to start with the outer bowl, and you're just going to slip the inner bowl right inside. From there, you're going to take the motor. You're going to clip that into the lid. Just hear a nice little click like that. And then you're going to connect the paddle like so. Super easy, really simple assembly. From there, you're just going to click the lid right on and plug it in. Now that we've assembled the ice cream maker, it is finally time for us to start making ice cream. In order to turn on the machine, there is a timer right here at the top. It's set for increments of 5 minutes, going all the way up to 30 minutes. It generally takes 20 to 25 minutes to get a nice soft serve consistency for your ice cream, but I would recommend setting it for the full 30 minutes and then stopping early if it gets too thick. I already have a pre-made ice cream mixture here with me, so I'm going to turn on the machine, pour it in, and we'll get started. All right, now we have the ice cream spooned into the dish. If you were to be adding any cookies, candy, syrups, caramel, anything like that, now would be the time to do it. You would just kind of pour it in, mix it around, and flatten it back out. From here, you can either eat it as soft serve ice cream or you can put it in the freezer. I generally put it in the freezer for about 2 hours. It makes it a really nice, solid, smooth ice cream, and it's super delicious. So enjoy!